The world just being an appearance in consciousness. This topic was suggested to me by one of you viewers. And by the way, you can also suggest a new topic. If you go to the awakeable.com website, there is a formula where you can fill in a topic. And you can also see other topics that I will be talking about down the road. But this video, the world just being an appearance in consciousness. When awakening happens, what is realized is that at the essence, that if we are peeling the onion, what we find at the center of everything is consciousness. And by that I mean that consciousness is prior to anything else. Consciousness is prior to anything else. If you were to shut down consciousness, what would be left? If you were to shut down consciousness, what would be left? This dawning that in a flash of a moment, or it's called in a flash of a light, that it is suddenly seen clearly. That the essence of who I am, or rather what I am, is consciousness, because consciousness is prior to everything. This dawning, this seeing clearly, is a deep awakening. So right now I appear in consciousness. The challenge here is that language can only take us so far. But for language to appear, there needs to be consciousness. Consciousness is the unmanifested. It is the unmanifested that everything else appears within. And every appearance within consciousness is what we could call manifested consciousness. So it is consciousness that is experiencing. All experiences are appearing inside consciousness. Experiences arises and then they disappear again. Experiences is a manifestation inside consciousness. When an experience disappears, consciousness does not disappear. Consciousness, the unmanifested, is, we could call it, the space that everything else appears within. So it is very obvious that consciousness is not inside this body. This body is inside consciousness because this body is experienced. And then you could say that this body is a sort of portal into the manifested realm. And this body is the portal through the senses. So when this body is opening its eyes, the whole world appears inside consciousness. And I know that when I say this body opening its eyes, then it again sounds like the consciousness is somewhere behind the eyes. But it isn't. A headache is experienced by consciousness. A headache is not experienced by the brain. The body nervous system is an experience inside consciousness. And I hope that you can see that if consciousness were to be shut down, everything would disappear. So the world appears inside consciousness. And then we can have this, dilemma, because I've learned that in Eastern traditions, they usually use the word consciousness in a different way. Actually, when I talk about consciousness in Eastern traditions, they will usually call that awareness. But I prefer the word consciousness because I feel when I use the word awareness that it implies that there is someone being aware. And there are certainly not someone being aware. Any idea about a someone is arising inside consciousness. So consciousness is prior to any idea there may be about a someone. And then if we start to argue or have a discussion, and perhaps you disagree, then I will just simply have to say that that discussion is happening inside consciousness. And that consciousness is a prerequisite for the ability to have a discussion. And you could build a belief that I am someone who has consciousness. But again, then I will just simply have to say that idea appears inside consciousness. Everything is a property of consciousness. In meditation, we typically, the way I uses meditation, we typically just sit and let go and let go. Every time a new thought appears, put it aside, put it aside. Fall back into empty consciousness. And then at some point, it dawns. And consciousness becomes aware, so to speak, of itself. Perhaps that's where the awareness word is more useful. But in the end, they are just simply words. So the world appears inside consciousness. The entire universe appears inside consciousness. So if you stand down at the beach in the darkness on a clear night, and you look out into the Milky Way, you will discover that you are not expanding the consciousness. All of the Milky Way is already inside consciousness. You cannot expand consciousness because consciousness is boundless. There are no limits to consciousness, so how would one expand consciousness? Rest as that. And mind you, we are not trying to eliminate everything inside consciousness. All that is happening is that the illusion are being revealed. So that consciousness rediscovers, so to speak, itself. So that consciousness stops falling into the trap of identifying with manifestations. Because manifestations, they come and they go. Consciousness is eternal. Consciousness was never born. Consciousness will never die. You are that. And inside that, the whole world appears. The entire universe appears. Rest as that.